This is Emilia Garcia with Weasel News. We are reporting on a story of SAPD corruption once again, ladies and gentlemen. Here we have Mark Markinson himself and Jared, who's going to be our lovely interviewer. So today we witness corruption. So here's some backstory. So word is on the street that there's this man named Connor O'Brien. He's a pretty corrupt police officer, and Mark will lead us into that right now. Go ahead, Mark.
So just take us, to the start of this, like whatever you can remember from the start of the situation.
Of course, of course. So I was stood outside of Benny's, the usual hangout spot for the boys, and overheard someone talking about Officer O'Brien, explain how he would turn up to scenes with PD, such as like illegal activities, and then he would relay that information of anything that he finds of entrances or exits to his fellow, well, sort of criminal friends. I don't know their names, but the word on the street is he passes that information so that they can commit the crime as smoothly as possible. And also, there's also word on the streets that Officer O'Brien would let off his friends if they were caught speeding or committing crime in the streets. He'd sort of like let them go on their way without any repercussions.
Okay. And you see, there was an ongoing investigation about, or this thing that this officer did, and of course, this investigation led to nowhere.
Yeah, so I just
Just a
went to
dead
the
end.
PD to sort of report it because obviously corruption in the workforce is frowned upon. And I spoke to Chief Levesque and Officer Brinton, and they said that they had ran an internal investigation on the reports, but he's still on the force.
Jesus.
Yeah.
Corrupt cop on the force still.
Their excuse was that what they don't take people's word for it, but then that leads to what I was speaking to you before the live broadcast started about the warrant that was placed on me wrongfully about a week ago, where they took someone's word for it. I'm not going to mention his name on camera.
Yeah, of course.
They took someone's word that I had committed crimes. They didn't bring me in for an interview. They didn't bring me in for an interrogation. They just straight put a warrant on my name.
So the PD, no words, no coming into question, no investigation, just outright just put a warrant like on
Yeah,
you that could affect your life that you
yeah, it
probably
did.
weren't even
It did.
aware of.
No, that's the thing. I only heard about my warrant from words on the streets, and I had to contact my lawyer Hans, who's incredible, and he took me down to the PD station, and I had a talk with Officer Brinton, and Hans managed to clear my name, sort of with insufficient evidence. How basically it was just their word, and they believed
Of
everything they
course.
said.
How does it make you feel, you as a citizens, the fact that the PD can so easily just put a warrant on you just because there's three people who said, oh hey, this person did this and that, and it seems like there wasn't even like no thorough investigation or nothing.
Yeah, it's
Just
crazy.
way too
Like,
easy.
yeah, it's quite scary day and age that we live in, where I mean, anyone could walk into the PD right now. I could walk into the PD and say, "Look, I was just in a room with Weasel News, and put a gun to my head, and what are they going to do? Put a warrant out for your arrest just because I've said something? It's crazy."
Exactly. I do feel like the PD really needs to fix that within their department.
Yeah, definitely. I definitely agree.
It,
I don't know what the chief is thinking at the moment. I think he's just sort of putting his own head in there. I've heard numerous things. Like I said, words on the street gets around quite easily. Of numerous things that the chief has done and isn't doing in the force. And I think the citizens nowadays just feel really unsafe. I mean, we can't rely on the PD force for our own safety. We sort of just have to carry around guns and do it ourselves.
exactly. I totally understand that. Uh, so since you were there, do you know like a conversation that happened between Hans and the officer that he talked to clear your name?
What questions that they asked Hans or
Yeah, just how the conversation went. Like,
yeah.
how were
So
they able to defend themselves? Going against that lawyer.
Well, they couldn't really defend themselves. Officer Brinton wasn't the one that sort of wrote the warrant out for my arrest, so he didn't really understand the situation as much as maybe the person that did do it. But Hans just basically said, like, what evidence do you have? And they didn't really have any evidence. It was basically the person that reported me had told them a story which they made up. And I mean, Hans was present when they were sort of accusing me of these things. And they got caught up in 3 or 4 lies where they were saying,
Jesus
like,
Christ.
I shot their vehicle and there was no bullet. Do you know what I mean, no bullet holes in their vehicle, and just crazy accusations where, do you know what I mean, if I didn't have Hans there to defend me and, do you know what I mean, help me get the warrant out for my arrest, I'd probably be in jail now, to be honest.
Of course. Hans is a wonderful lawyer. It's kind of crazy how they were tripping up on their own words.
It doesn't
You know, they
surprise
could
me,
have
honestly.
put you away from life. I mean, that's 3 people, you know,
Literally.
going after you.
And it's attempted murder as well. 3 counts of attempted murder.
Jesus
It's,
Christ.
yeah.
Millie, do you have
Like I said,
anything to add?
luckily I had Hans there, and he shut the PD down quite quickly.
I'm not sure, but I really think this needs to be fixed soon because I've been hearing way too many words on the street. For example, like when I'm hanging out at Benny's, I just hear a bunch of sad, bad things that PD's doing. Kind of hurts my soul in the city. Makes me hurt for the city.
Like, name a last time where, you know, PD did their job correctly, because I can't.
I can't remember.
I honestly can't remember either.
All right, well, I think that concludes this interview. You know, thank you for being brave enough to share. You know, I know it might be a little scary. Hopefully they don't try and come after you for this. But,
No, I have a message. Hold on.
They can
okay.
try.
Message from Jared Martinez.
Fix your shit. Just end it on there.